Yes, guys, it's another episode of Fight Talk Live. It's Danny Glover. It's Base the Kid. You know where it is. Happy New Year!
Nice, a scrappy new year for me, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings and salutations to all of you. Thank you very much for being here. October may be joining us a little bit, but big ups to her. New job, new responsibilities. So she is dealing with something else at the moment. But yeah, she said she might jump on. Quick apologies to those of you who did not get to see the award show last week. We did record it. We were live streaming. There are people in the comments who will verify that we did actually have a stream, but for some reason, it didn't show on YouTube. It was only showing on the TwitX channels, my channel, Danny's channel, October Red's channel. So if you managed to see it there, well done. You saw the only evidence of the show and all the awards and stuff that were given out. But yeah, I think what me and Danny will do for the people that weren't here last week and didn't actually get to see that, we're gonna cover those quick. We're gonna cover sort of those early categories now, and then we'll get into everything that's happened over sort of like the weekend just gone, everything that sort of led up, even sort of leading into the week that's about to commence, etc., etc. But yeah, just before we even get into that, Danny, how you feeling? What's good? What's good, my guy? Hope everything is well, family good, and all that.
Yeah, all's good. You know what I mean? Family's good. Yeah, Master aficionados all good. Yeah, apologies, people. I am in a dressing gown, but you have to accept that it is freezing out here. So man's got to keep warm, you know. You know what I mean? Got to be comfortable out here.
So one time we'll give you a grace for your wardrobe choices. We'll give you the grace on this one.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, quick shout out to man like Philip Answer who did see the show yesterday. I mean, sorry, last week on the old Twitter X. He confirmed it in my comments for other videos. Star Fox was ready to cuss me. But Philip was he was back in the cause. He said no. They did have the show. Man like Ra Holcomb in the building as well. Scrappy New Year to you, Ra. Appreciate you. And man like Dan, the hardest working guy in SC15, or hardest working guy on Twitex, I should say. To be fair, he's active. And then man like Skyline and the editor, shout out to you, missed the awards, man. I was away. Don't worry, we're gonna do a recap for you now. We're gonna spend like 15 minutes, quick recap. So that's all the comments we're gonna get to for the moment. Any other big ones that sort of that come in, we'll address those. But we'll do the awards quickly now. So right, what we'll do, Danny,
Mhm.
is I can't remember the exact order that we went in last week, so we're just going to kind of go in a general flow. So we'll start off with this one. So we'll start off with the prospect of the year
Mhm.
for 2025. Who was your prospect of the year? Either men's, women's, or just one or the other, however you did it.
Yeah, for women's prospect of the year was Tia Maya Ayton, for me, because she's had a great start. She stopped opponents that have been the distance with Fran Hennessy. Two opponents that's been the distance with Fran Hennessy. One that's been the distance with Courtney, Maisie Rose, and also Chloe Watson, and she's just getting rid of them. Especially the Brazilian lady who we watched fight Fran Hennessy in the copper box, and she looked very, butch and strong, and gave Fran a good fight. And I was thinking this was going to be a good fight. She took her out in style. So for me, Maya Tia Maya
May
Ayton,
Ayton. Yeah.
yeah, definitely got that for me. And then for the men's, I was deliberating for a while. We've had some good guys coming through like Leo Atang, etc. But for me, I think overall, who I've been most impressed with this year for the men as a prospect, because you have to qualify as a prospect, is Joel Kadua. Um, he's beat Dan Francis, my friend of mine, stopped him, and the performance he did, it was very impressive. And then he's gone and won also the English title because he won the Southern Area and the Commonwealth Silver, and he's won the English title. And yeah, the performances have been very impressive for me as a prospect coming through. I think he's the one to look forward to, and definitely a dark horse on the scene.
Okay, cool. Well, yes, I agree with your teammate Aiton. She was also my prospect of the year for the women. For the men, my prospect of the year was actually Reito Satsumi, who had his fourth bout on the last card, the Night of the Samurai card for the zone and obviously Riyadh season. Four fights this year, three stoppages, and he's been on the big stage for all four of his fights, and he's managed to deliver on all four of his fights. Sure, a few things to work out and to obviously work on, but he is a prospect for no highly touted amateur. Was like basically bidding wars out of the amateurs to into the pro ranks, and Turkey Al Sheikh, he's snapped him up. You'll see, biggest wallet in the rooms often gets the prize. But yeah, shout out to them, and I'm sure there's other people that we could have mentioned. Any of you guys can go on my videos on my channel to see anything else from there. Now, all right, so every prospect needs a good trainer. So, in your mind, who was the trainer of the year for 2025, Danny?
For 2025, prospect of the year. Fun.
No,
I know.
trainer.
Sorry, trainer of the year. For I'm going to give it to Tony Sims because I've liked the way he's developed. Funny, two middleweights in George Liddard and Jimmy Sains, both coming through. Having great wins this year. Really, really good, putting some good performances as we saw George Liddard against Kieran Conway. People thought this was a step too early and too far for George Liddard, and the way he managed to dismantle him and be the first man to stop Kieran Conway was very impressive. George Liddard has been coming through just behind him on the scene, and then doing very well as well. So I think with those two prospects, he's been the trainer for the year for me on the British scene. Internationally, because I think you got to
Oh
kind
no, no,
of.
no! We're only
Oh,
doing one. It's whoever's the trainer. You don't get
oh,
international in the
oh, oh,
British.
okay. I didn't know we was just doing ones.
No, we come on. We got to speed it up. So it's
Okay,
like whoever you think deserves it overall.
yeah,
It's not.
Tony Sims. Tony
Yeah.
Sims for me.
Okay. Right. So mine, everyone who I didn't have a video on this one, so I was happy to talk about it last week. My trainer of the year was Shingo Inoue. He coached his son Noya to 4 Ring Magazine title victories this year, which is tying Larry Holmes since 1984. First time it's been done since then, which is an accomplishment. He also got his other son Takuma Inoue a world title. I believe it was the WBO championship against Tenshin Nasukawa, who was one of the most famous kickboxing champions, undefeated. The only person who's obviously beaten prior to Takuma Inoue was Floyd Mayweather in their exhibition bout that they had. But obviously Tension was like a 115, 118 guy, and Floyd came in at 160. So it was never really going to be a fair fight in that sense. But for me, I think that just the dedication, the effort, the meticulous preparation that he shows Shingo with his sons is top notch. I know those aren't the only people he trains, but those are the only ones that I have sort of that proper full knowledge on. So yeah, I would give it to him. Robert Garcia was a strong candidate, also, but for me, I think that those. I think Shingo is definitely my trainer of the year.
Oh
Now,
yeah, sorry. Also with Tony Sims managing to turn the year around. Definitely when you talk about 2025 for Craig Richards, as you know, 2024 didn't go too well, and this year he's managed to knock out Padraig McCrory, former IBO light heavyweight champion, in his backyard in Northern Ireland. Then knocked out Dan Aziz in Ghana, Africa. Also, obviously we've seen Conor Benn have two fights this year. Very impressive, stepping up a weight class against Eubank Jr. and then having the rematch and then winning the rematch, even though some circumstances, etc. And Johnny Fisher, I know, didn't really. He's just taken Johnny on. Didn't have the greatest beginning of the fight, but still managed to turn it round and get the job done. So yeah.
well, look, a good trainer can inspire a very good comeback. So that's where we're gonna go next. Danny, for you, who for you was your comeback of the year? You can look at it in terms of a single fight, or you can look at it in terms of a fighter that maybe had a poor year prior and as was able to turn it around, towards this year or towards the back end of it. However you choose.
I'm going to go with actual fight, just turning it around because for me, it has to go to Fabio Wardley versus Justice Hooney because I remember sitting next to Denzel Bentley at Portman Road saying, "Like, come on, this is done now." Like next minute, boom, because he was. I gave Wardley one round out of that what 10. I think I gave him the second round. Other than that, he was taking a hiding. Really, he was just eating shots. The body shots was getting to him. That he was just getting, just getting beaten to the punch and just eating a lot of shots. And he managed to pull it out, literally pull it out the bag. So I have to give it to him.
Okay, well, we're in agreement. I don't need to say anything further on that. That was also mine. And I guess, oh, actually, no, actually, no, I guess we can run into this because, sometimes, as you saw in that, one punch can change everything. And, a good comeback sometimes does happen by way of a devastating knockout. So, who or what was your knockout of the year? You can either do men and women, you can just do men, you can just do women, or you can just pick one of and say that was the best one. For you, what was your knockout of the year?
Knockout of the year for me has to go to Craig Richards over Dan Aziz, the big left hook in the 12th round in Africa. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, the big left hook in Africa goes to Craig Richards.
Okay, cool. Well, as I haven't done my video for that yet, I will not be mentioning that for now. But with a good knockout, sometimes it usually has to lead from a pretty good fight. So, Danny, in your opinion, what is the fight of the year of 2025? As I said, you can do men, you can do women, you can do both, you can just one overall. Your choice.
Well, for I'm just going to go one overall that stood out for me, and we have to go back to the start of 2025. There were some strong candidates throughout the year, but for me, it has to go to Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith, which was funny enough which was the ribbon cutter on such an excellent card. Yeah, the back and forth, how none of both men never went down. Obviously, the quality of the exchanges and the fight. I know a lot of people would say Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn won, but that was more crash bang Wallach. I'm talking about there was a lot of technical side to it and more skill set to it. It was skilled violence. So that for me is why I give it to Callum Smith and Joshua Buatsi.
Okay, fair enough. And I won't disagree with you. That was also mine. If you guys watch the videos, make sure you do.
Okay.
And a good fight, obviously, sometimes has to be, it has to be on a very good platform for people to be able to see it, for people to be able to take it in and understand exactly what is going on. So, with that being said, who was your broadcaster of the year for 2025?
Broadcaster of the year. Um, I don't think there was much competition for me. I would give it to DAZN. Um, they've got a really good stronghold now with a lot of promoters um, promoting their shows on their channel. So I'd have to give it to DAZN.
Okay, well, this is one that we actually differ in because my broadcaster of the year, and so was October Reds, it's Netflix. Netflix have put on the three biggest cards of the year in terms of numbers, in terms of metrics. Yes, it's a different playing field because their subscriber base is crazy. But when you look at the cards and the events that they put on, they took over the game and they made all casuals interested in what they were doing. Whereas DAZN, even like their best cards this year weren't necessarily casual cards. The Netflix cards, look, you had Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua to end the show, turned Anthony Joshua into a global megastar, even though he was a world megastar, but now he's global with the Americans now finally taking interest, especially the women.
Mm-hmm.
That alone has to get them that number one spot. But then if they also put on the biggest women's fight of the year, which was Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3. And they put on the most high stakes fight in boxing this year generally with Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. So, yeah,
And
they
with
may have...
Jake and Tyson,
Huh?
was Jake and
That was
Tyson?
last year.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so even though they may have only done three events this year, they were the three biggest events, and they were the events that people were talking about around the water cooler for a good week or two afterwards. So yeah, that's who I've given it to. Danny's given it to the zone. I can understand that. We're not going to have a debate about that. However, a good broadcaster, they need someone that can kind of talk up their events and talk up what is going on. So in that case, you need a strong promoter. So Danny, for 2025, who was your promoter of the year?
Promoter of the year, I would say, goes to Frank Warren for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any reason?
Um, he's put on the best quality shows for me overall. He's had the high drama. You know, he's talked very well.
He's
You
had a
know,
lot of pay-per-view shows this year, or last year, I should say.
yeah, maybe that's got him talking more because he has to sell them. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, he's been the best promoter for me.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have gone that way personally. I do feel as if he's maybe been a little bit stagnant with his heavyweights. But you know, I understand. However, for me, no promoter of the year for me. Without a shadow of a doubt, there was no. You know, I didn't really feel like there was any discussion in this. I know a lot of people that said Eddie Hearn. I said it was Jake Paul, Nikisa Badarian, MVP. Again, put on two of the most viewed shows this year with Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 3, the trilogy. Obviously, Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua done something that no other, that no one else has been able to do thus far, which is make Anthony Joshua a worldwide, global mega star. And also, if you look at their events that they have on the zone as well, they may have only put on 12. They put on their most valuable prospects cards. They had, for me, also what I would consider one of the fights of the year with Daniel Pero and Cesar Navarro. They also had the what most people would consider the round of the year with Juarez and I think it's Juarez and Leighton. That crazy first round war where both guys ended up getting slept at one point or another. Juarez gets knocked down brutally within the first minute, and then manages to avoid the referees stopping the fight, coming back and then knocking down Leighton 3 times, to then be stopped right at the end, just before the bell rings for the end of the first round. It was all on MVP shows,
I
so
forgot
they
that was on his show.
yeah, they got they've got the women out there doing big business at the moment. Yeah, they've obviously got they got the eyes on the divisions with Jake and his events, and obviously Jake. Let's not forget he also had his own event on the zone this year with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. So yeah, for me, while Eddie's obviously always the most consistent, I feel like it was MVP that actually were the best in class or the best in show for this year
Yeah.
personally.
Also,
But
shout out to Ra Hokum. I will say that also on a side note to the comeback of the year, if you're talking about career resurgence, I would give that to Troy Williamson to manage to turn his career right around and put it right back on track for the year as well.
that's a very good that's a very very good shout. I'll give you that one. Um, Now with that, because obviously you have the promoter, but every promoter needs someone that they can get behind, someone that they can talk up. So with that being said, every promoter needs a great fighter to promote. So for 2025, Danny, who is your male and female fighter of the year?
My male fighter of the year is Naoya Inoue. Funny enough, that's Master Aficionado's Junior's favorite fighter. 4 fights this year, all high level. Even managed to get dropped in what was it in the fight in May?
Cardenas. Yeah.
Yeah, and come back and get the knockout. Activity for me, you don't get fighter of the year for fighting once. And yeah, Inu he's just been very consistent at a very high level for me, and he's just been doing the business. Had 2 fighters, one who people thought was ducking, basically kind of conceding defeat and not really even trying to win it at Medaliev. And then you saw David Picasso really being very defensively responsible. So even though he's had 2 points victories, he's kind of put people in their place very early. Plus, he's got 2 knockout victories as well. So Inui for me.
Okay, yep, I agree. I had a new A's myself for Fighter of the Year. It was actually close between him and Jesse Rodriguez. Um, Terrence was definitely in the running. I had him for my performance of the year, because it was the best performance of the year in my opinion, especially with all the odds quote unquote stacked against him. But I did knock points off for the only fighting once, even though maybe what he did in that one fight, you could say it was more impressive as an actual feat. But when it comes to the actual discipline of, staying in the gym, having to still push through when your body's tired and it needs that recuperation, and you're still going and you're fighting high level opposition. Okay, the first opponent maybe wasn't the greatest, but they were still, I believe, a top six or top seven guy in the WBO rankings when Sam Goodman fell out. So they
Hmm.
weren't, I'm sure they would have given other people problems. Fought two WBC mandatories, fought his WBA mandatory. He's managed to hold on to all his belts for another year again, equaling a record from Larry Holmes. There's not really much to criticize there at all. So yeah, I agree with you. Did you have a female fighter of the year, or did you not go that
Yeah,
route?
yeah, I did. My female fighter of the year is Elif Nur Turhan. I had no notion of her in January. First met her in Belfast in Northern Ireland. I was hanging around with Shauna Brown because I'm, team Matchroom and that. Tony and Craig, friends with Sam Gillian and his coaches and stuff like that, and Shauna. So I was with her. Just saw this woman. I didn't even know she was Turkish till I heard her name, and then I was like, oh, that sounds Turkish. And then I thought, okay, she's probably the way she looked. I just thought she was there to get beat. Then yeah, first round, bang, left hook made Shauna do roly polies on the floor. Then in what was it? In August, she fought Rima Aida, the Olympian, knocked her out in France, and then we saw what happened with Beatrice Ferreira at the end of the year. So three great performances, a world champion now. So for me, yeah, that is the female fighter of the year. Fun enough, my performance of the year is a bit different to yours. I actually gave it to Dmitry Bivol over Artur Beterbiev for the rematch because the way because he was losing it at first, and then the way he just went into some supersonic and just really started pulling out his whole arsenal of skills to turn it around and get the victory. I just thought that was an excellent performance, and it was an excellent fight as well. To be fair,
Okay, interesting, interesting. With my female fighter of the year, I went with Shanika Johnson. Um, Elif was in my considerations. She didn't make my top three, but I was being a bit more critical and trying to work out, all right, who did something that, was really, really significant. Now, yes, she did. She beat three undefeated fighters as the away fighter. I have to give her that. But two of them were unproven in terms of their levels. Rima Ayadi and Shauna Brown were, they was untested. Maybe you could say the same thing about Elif, probably, possibly. I'm not going to deny that. She did excellent against Beatrice Ferreira, definitely there. But with Shanika Johnson, in my opinion, she, she had a very, very controversial decision over Nina Hughes last year, majority decision where the cards got read the wrong way and all kinds of stuff, and no one really knew what was going on. She then cleaned that up in February, knocked out Nina Hughes, which is no one had ever done before. Very decorated amateur, former world champion just the fight before. Cleaned it up. Came in on about 3 weeks' notice to face Sharita Metcalf chicken for well, it is disputed. It's not undisputed because Dina Thorson still holds the Ring Magazine belt and the lineal title at 118 pounds. But all the other belts, all the sanctioning belts were on the line. And again, Shanika Johnson came in and knocked out Sharita Metcalf as well in that fight.
well,
Two
stop.
wins, two knockouts, and then against Amanda Gale in the fight just gone with Jake and Joshua on that card. She pretty much dominated another very tough top level and top ranked opponent who I believe was top five across all the governing bodies, possibly even within top three for three of them, if I can remember correctly. So for me, becoming undisputed, facing top level opposition, consensus top level opposition three times was enough for her to get it on my card. So yeah, that was my opinion on it. But Alif, yes, there was definitely a lot of consideration there, and both Ade and Ariel Hawani earlier on, to just a few moments ago, gave it to Alif as their female fighter of the year. So
Okay.
you definitely do have some backing in that one,
Also,
right?
Ra, quickly, no, I don't think she can be built as a superstar in Turkey yet, but she can be built as a star in Germany because there was a lot of big population of Turkish people in Germany, and that's the main hub of boxing if you're talking about for Turkish fighters historically and even now.
I just want to say a big shout out to Champ Ross. My guy, we are in the predictions league. That the new league is just starting this week, so I will get my picks into you later on, either today or tomorrow when this show's finished. But salute. Right, okay. So now that we've kind of got that stuff out the way, so for everyone who wasn't here last week, you've kind of been caught up a little bit on what our predictions were. If you again, I've got all the videos up on my channel. If you want to see who my runner ups were, if you want to see who I maybe I had in third spot, or like my fourths and fifths in certain people, or who was in the running, all the videos are there. They're all about 11, 12 minutes, apart from one, which I think is maybe 18. So yeah, feel free to check those. Now, Danny, let's talk a little bit about well, actually, let's not talk about the card itself, but the main event, right? You had
Mhm.
Amanda Serrano, who's been very high on the 10 threes, or 12 threes as well, fighting the same as the men, trying to do the equality thing. And she fought Reina Tellez this week as a last minute replacement, 2-3 weeks out from she had Erica Cruz. They wanted to do the rematch there. Erica had an atypical finding in her test. Obviously, she did fail a VADA test. I think it was in 2023, which I'm not sure what happened with that one. However, just for clarification for anyone who was interested in that situation, she actually, her tests, all of the tests for those VADA tests actually came back negative. There were no positive tests there. There was one obviously atypical where something was a little bit high. They retested it, or they checked the other samples and they did further testing around, and they did all the previous ones and everything came back negative. So she had been, basically complaining and, not so much slandering, but almost being very, very angry at the fact that she was removed from the bout. But it is what it was. That her loss became Reina Tellez's gain. Reina Tellez had never even done a 10-rounder prior to that, let alone doing 3-minute rounds. And Amanda Serrano, for all the vaunted power that she's supposed to have, and now being back at the weight class that she says is her weight class, is where she feels the best, and she's happy that she's cutting weight again and not having to eat herself up to 140, was not able to get the stoppage on Reina, who was visibly gassed from about the 5th round on, but showed a tremendous heart and will. Danny, did you watch the fight? And if so, sort of what were your opinions? And considering that Amanda says that she wants to break Christy Martin's knockout record, and there was something else I think she said she wanted to do before she retired, that's now put her back an extra fight because she needs one more to tie and then another one to exceed.
Mhm.
What did you think of the fight if you watched it?
Yeah, no, I watched it. Um, for me, so I saw that the Reina, she came in a little bit overweight, but she only had 2 weeks notice, so we're not gonna, throw any blame on her for that. Um, but yeah, I think that Amanda Serrano, I don't know, for me, she's starting to possibly look a bit old in there, because and she's standing very upright, and Tellez, she was coming in low. She landed some good catch counters, good jab. She managed to sort of swell up Amanda's eye quite badly, and she's had a good skill set for me from what I was watching of the fight. Yes, she didn't really have the energy reserves, but it'd have been interesting to see how that fight would have played out had she have had a full camp. And I've never even seen that Tellez fight before, so that was a good showing by her. Amanda looked a bit slow. She was kind of falling a bit, just standing a bit too upright. and didn't look like there was any real power in her shots. So I just think maybe she's getting a bit. Oh, what is she like? 37 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe, and she's had a lot of fights as well. So I know some women can go on a bit longer, but she has had a very long career, so it might get a bit hard for her to break Christy Martin's record. Yeah, if she goes and gets a couple of cans, she could do it, but I don't think people are really looking for that. I don't think Amanda wants to do it that way either. But yeah, it looked like a tough fight for her on a fight that wasn't meant to be that tough on paper.
Yeah. Well, what I will say though, shout out to her. She is still campaigning. She is elevating the women as best she can. Again, you can't go on forever, as we know. And I guess the biggest issue with Amanda is she's very much a type of fighter. Which, don't get me wrong, it makes for great fights, and you love to see it. But she's very much. I just believe that I'm going to be able to overpower you, be stronger than you, and be able to throw more punches. But she has almost no defense.
Hmm.
It's actually concerning the amount that she gets hit because, like most of the time, it's very rare that you will even see her try to put up a high guard. Like Raina Teller's actually had that high guard up quite a bit in the fight when she was throwing. Amanda's arms were always like down. One's always like right by her waist, and the other one's like maybe by a breastplate. Like she just never has anything, and then there's no head movement. So what are you really using to block the shots? Are you just hoping, all right, well, I'll take one to land one, which ultimately works until it doesn't. So she needs to. I mean, I was about to say she needs to sort of tighten that up, but let's be honest. Like you said, she's on her way out. Is
Too
she's
late for
maybe
that.
got two or three fights left. I doubt she's going to change anything now.
How
Like,
many fights she had? She's had over 40, right?
yeah, she's had. I think she's had 53 because I think she's
Yeah,
48, 4-1 right
yeah.
now.
And the thing is, even Tellers, I've sort of visibly hurt Amanda a couple of times because she seemed pretty heavy-handed. That Tellers. So yeah, I saw her snapping her head back. Seem a couple of shots that seemed to hurt Amanda. But yeah, you ain't gonna tighten up the defense. But yeah, it is what it is with her now.
I hear it. I hear it. All right, so let's look a real quick one regarding the comeback, the unretirement that no one was surprised to hear about, and the time. Normally, I would be very critical and skeptical of the timing. On this particular occasion, there's probably a lot of reason that you could be very critical and skeptical of it, but I think it was always kind of planned to be in and around this time to set up whatever's going to take place. Although, again, if anyone did want to criticize the timing, I wouldn't blame you because it does look a little bit suspect. But Tyson Fury is back supposedly out of retirement after a year and a bit out of the ring. Says they will be fighting soon. We don't know who. There's been sparring footage of him and Kevin Lorena that surfaced. What's your opinions on that? His coming out of retirement, who he's likely to kind of face because you know that he's always going to have his little warm up or his little comeback fights before he does anything of significance, if he does it at all. What's your opinion?
Yeah, he did, to be fair, he did announce kind of unofficially or maybe officially that he was coming back before the incident, the other incident. You know what I'm saying? So it weren't like he's just done it on some unsavory timing. To be fair, so there's no foul play there. But yeah, good on him. I see him hitting the pads today. You know, doing he's always got good shot selection and stuff when he's on the pads and stuff like that. But yeah, he probably will have a can, and then but from what I'm seeing, it looks like he might be targeting Fabio Wardley if the fight with AJ doesn't come to fruition for the summertime, which I think both men was initially planning to kind of do. But then, other than that, I guess Fabio Wardley will be a good dance partner. He's done a stadium fight in his home stadium. Tyson Fury loves a stadium fight, so I'm sure they could bring that to London or Manchester. So yeah.
Interesting, interesting. I mean, yeah, I heard some people talk about the Wardley would be a good option and stuff. I don't know. Fight seems a bit too risky for him because again, he likes to. when has he ever come from a retirement or come from a hiatus and then taken on one of the top guys straight away? I don't think he's ever done that. So if he did, kudos to him. But being several years older, being multiple pounds over than where he should be, and all of that, being a bit slower probably. I don't know. It seems like it's not the usual Tyson play, but if he does take a Wardley fight, well done to him. I actually think that fight would be more problematic to him than some of the other fights that you could name, just because Wardley is still, for everything, very unorthodox in the way that he goes to throw punches. And when when he goes into what I like to call off it mode, that's very hard to deal with. He swarms you, and it's very hard to sort of slip and slide and roll and be defensively responsible for every single wild shot that he's throwing. And again, we've seen him do the pirouette uppercut, like, so that, most guys ain't really prepared for that, or Michael Jackson Thriller and thing.
Yeah,
So it's
them cobble punches, and the thing is also with Fury, as you said, he is older now, and his movement and lateral movement, slip and sliding, is not going to be as fluid and as fast and agile as it once was. And he always talks about young man's game and old men can't beat young men. And Wardley is several years younger than Fury, so
yeah, almost 8. So, but hey, good luck to him if that's what he does decide to do. Yeah, my thoughts on it similar. Like, I don't really, that is the worst kept secret. Like, everyone, it was never really a retirement. Same reason why no one dropped him out of the rankings, even though, yeah, you have to wait a year for inactivity. But if you actually retire, like if you look, Terence Crawford is now actually out of all the rankings because he's made the formal retirement, but no one believed that with Fury. So he remained number ones and twos in wherever he was placed. But yeah, whatever he does will be interesting. We all know it was potentially leading to something else. We'll sort of get there in a moment. But what I do want to speak about this week, we've actually got quite a few. There's quite a few shows on. So, I mean, look. First off, we do have Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith taking place in the States.
New York Barclays Center.
It's in the Barclays Center, yep, and it's also on. I believe it's on pay. Is it on payperview.com?
Yeah, it's on some kind of mad pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's not with the Zone. Nothing to do with Matchroom, but obviously Dalton Smith. It was Fresh Promotions that won the bid. What is your thoughts on the fight? And if you have any early predictions, or please feel free if you're not planning on doing any other content around it.
My thoughts on the fight. It is on paper actually a good fight. You've got Subriel Matias, who's a banger. You've got Dalton Smith, who is a pressure heavy hitter. But them charging 42 quid, I don't think anyone's going to buy it. It looks like ticket sales are not doing too well either, from what I've seen on the ticket thing. But I think maybe this might be the right timing for Dalton Smith, coming in the right place, right time. He seems on the ascendancy. Subriel Matias has not looked. He didn't look good in his last couple of fights, in my opinion. So I don't know if he's slowing down or the lifestyle. Who knows? Sometimes the Puerto Rican guys and if you start hanging around Miami or wherever you start hanging around with, you start sort of waning. So I see a Dalton Smith victory on points, in my opinion.
Okay, interesting.
With his
Obviously,
work rate.
I can't give any predictions just yet, as you guys know. Videos will be coming on Friday. But I am actually interested in the fight. It's not the only fight of this weekend though, and for the life of me, I'm struggling to remember what the other one was.
Agit Caballero versus
That's it.
Damian Naiba.
Yeah, Damien Kaneba, that's the one.
Yeah.
I was about to thank you because I was about to say that I'm sure it was one over here on this side of the pond. Yes, Agit Caballero in Germany, trying to revive the German market. Obviously, being a Turkish or a German. Is he? No, he's Turkish born German, right? I think he was born in Turkey and then moved to Germany, or he lives out there, one or the other.
He lives in Germany, yeah.
Yeah, but he's look, this is his first fight since February of last year. So will there be ring rust? Who knows? That luckily he's always seems to be someone that he's not necessarily like Mr. Body Beautiful or anything like that, but he never seems to just be mad out of shape, and he's just a naturally strong, warrior type guy. So I feel like he's the type of person that will be. Yeah, sorry, Ra. Yes, I know he's Kurdish, but I sort of group a lot of the Kurdish people and the Turkish people kind of together. Maybe that's wrong. I shouldn't do that. But I know a lot of them have cross lineage. So,
Yeah,
um,
he's Kurdish lineage, but born in Turkey, lives in Germany.
okay, there we go. So his family were refugees from Iraq. Oh, interesting.
Well, no, because it's a bit of a complex thing with the Kurdistan area. It's in around West Turkey, yeah, and then there's a bit of Iran and Iraq. So it's a circular motion. So they're actually located in three countries, the sector of Kurdistan. So,
Right,
but his family, from what I know, are from the Turkey part of the Kurdistan region, unofficial Kurdistan region.
right. There we go.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, the one thing I did say this from last year, and I think I even said it a little bit towards the back end of 2023. But with Frank Warren having all of the heavyweights and monopolizing, it's brilliant on one hand, but like you got to have the money to pay these guys because the heavyweight division is the one division whereby no one is fighting on the cheap or even fighting at their value, especially in this moment of money all over the place. And with that kind of being there, there's been loads of inactivity. You've got all these people that you should be able to make fights with. They should all be fighting two, three, sometimes possibly even four times a year. And most of them are being lucky to get out once in a 12-month span. You the Joseph Parkers and that were struggling for dates prior to that. He fought once in 2023 after having five fights of activity in 2022 when he wasn't on necessarily the Queensbury roster and well, it was five times in a 16-month span, I believe.
Mm.
Yeah, so you get that. You got like Hergovich managed to get out twice. A lot of the sort of the lower level guys managed to kind of get out two times. I think one of them may have got out three, but generally speaking, all of the upper level guys were all out once in that 12-month span. It just wasn't really good enough. It wasn't good enough activity for them. And I'm hoping that 2026 can be the year when a bunch of them are either more active or get released from those contracts and they're able to kind of just go if even if they got to be away opponents on other shows and
Mm.
just keep the momentum up and keep the activity. But yes, it's going to be a good fight between Ajit Caballero and Damian Kaniba. Kaniba is a top ranked fighter, so he's one of top ranked prospect heavyweights. You know that generally speaking, they're quite good with who they recruit into their stables and their rankings. So while he's not a name, he does have a little bit of pedigree. But this is a step far beyond anywhere he's been in his career. So let's see if he can rise to that challenge. Is there any other fights on that card that you're interested in?
Yeah, there's Jadia Herrera. He's fighting Ricardo Nunez for the WBC interim title
Yeah.
at lightweight, and yeah, that's it really. I know there's Roman Fury on there, but that's just name brand sake. And I know that they announced that David Adilier is on the card as well, but he hasn't got an
Yes.
opponent yet.
Yeah, I did see that actually. So I guess interesting. We'll find out. But yeah, look, I'm gonna be tuned into both cards. We may end up. I think we probably will end up doing a watch along for that. We might do a little joint one. Um, there won't be a watch along, I suppose, for the Dalton Smith fight. But if I can find the stream, I'll definitely be tuned in. Um,
I'm not paying for that.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But no, look, it's a nice little start to the year. We don't usually get fights in the first week of January. Now we're getting fights on the first 2 weeks, which is they're properly stretching out the sort of that time space. And usually you would think you keep January kind of free until right towards the end, because it's a very expensive month for people, and then the boxing season usually is like it's February to July, and then it's September to December. That kind of always seems to be where they set, and you January and August are like your months off. But no, not anymore. Like, you got big fights happening all year round, and it's good for those of us who can enjoy it from our homes. But for the people that actually got to pay for tickets and stuff, and that's where it starts to get a little bit techie, because everyone who gets paid early in December knows that money's got to stretch an extra 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks at times. Some people ain't getting paid for 7 weeks.
Yeah,
It's a crazy one, and then
yeah.
the bills and everything goes up. It's luckily for me, well, I'd say luckily, it's also unlucky that uh, I guess my current employer doesn't do that. They actually pay you on the last working day of the month, regardless of what month or what season it is. So if you're light before Christmas, you're in trouble.
Okay, yeah. With mine, I get it. Mine's on the 10th, regardless. I remember about one point when I first started, they did used to do that, and then you had to wait 7 weeks. So then it does become beans on toast money. You see what I'm saying? So it's real out here.
It's difficult, but no, I hear it. So a good week of boxing coming up. Decent, little decent event earlier on last weekend, just to sort of tide us over during that little period. We've seen, obviously, we will not kind of speak about the Joshua and the stuff that happened there. We all saw that. We kind of addressed it a little bit last week just to give well wishes. However, we only kind of highlighted that to say, obviously, he is now fortunately back safe and sound in the UK. He has posted up so that we do know he's well. Luckily, there's no visible visible injuries or anything that seems to be of an adverse nature. His two compatriots did have their funerals earlier. I think it was yesterday, actually.
No,
Which
Sunday.
was it, Sunday?
Yeah.
And that's quite that's very quick. It's a quick turnaround for most communities of color. You don't normally have funerals that quick. I know in Ireland they normally bury um their loved ones within 3 days of them passing, which is amazing personally, because we obviously got 9 nights and then all that sort of stuff. So more time than not, sometimes people ain't getting buried until like a month, 2 months later, sometimes even 3 months after they've passed. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a Muslim culture thing where they normally will bury them as quick as possible. I know in
okay.
places like Turkey and Northern Cyprus, you can be buried on the same day um, that you pass. So yeah, they tried to do it as quick as possible. So I think with the Muslim community, that's why it was so quick.
Okay, that fair enough. That makes sense. They must work similar to, like I said, how the Irish people operate, and it's yeah. Obviously, we again, as we just said before, without getting into anything else, we send well wishes to everyone who was involved. Prayers to families of everyone who's long since passed, and yeah, love, guidance, and strength to both Anthony Joshua and his family and loved ones who obviously are there to comfort him in this time, but also the other families who are having to deal with, I guess, the ramifications and the aftermath of the tragedy. And pretty much that's all I'd like to say about it. Dan, if you've got anything you'd like to address, feel free.
No, no, no.
All right, cool. Okay, so any other business before we sign out, because we wanted to keep this one short and sweet for you lot, and we hopefully have done that. Is there anything else that you wanna talk about and touch on quickly?
Well, actually, before I get into Ra's question, which seems quite interesting, I just want to talk briefly about Ebony Bridges' fight on the MVP card.
Oh, against Ariza.
Yeah, one thing I will say is kudos to her for how she was able to still do that vacuum pose at the weigh-in while she's just had a baby just recently. So that was impressive. But As far as fighting concerned, I think that her time is done. She was looking old. She's fallen over her front foot. I just think age has caught up with her and maybe inactivity as well. I was impressed with that Rosado girl putting
Crystal Rosado.
yeah, putting punches in bunches. I don't know if she's related to Gabriel Rosado, but
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, I found she was very impressive. The Holly Holmes, Stephanie Han was a bit of a anticlimax, obviously with the head clash. But the hand for me was winning that fight. But more, she won that fight actually on technical decision. So yeah, Holly Holm making a comeback to boxing after we had him in a real boxing career and a former world champion in boxing. I don't know why she decided to come back. Maybe the paper, but yeah, she might need to leave it because
Well, I mean, Stephanie Han it said that she's happy to do the rematch. She wants to do the rematch. Obviously, like, clean it up. She wasn't really happy herself with the way it was ended. Especially, I guess maybe when you was clearly winning so many of the rounds, you can be happy to say, yeah, let's run it back. It would be about who makes the adjustments. I will say I don't think that cut, as I can understand, obviously because of where it is, like right on the forehead, and it's a place where the nerve is, and it can bleed quite a bit. It wasn't that bad. I don't
no, it
think
weren't.
it's necessary to stop the fight on that. There's been worse cuts, even in the women's fights. The fight where the very first fight where Shanika Johnson got the nasty cut above the eye was actually a lot deeper and a lot worse and a lot more dangerous than that hairline fracture that Stephanie Han got. That's where the WWE people used to, do their nick themselves right there to get the blood for the color in their fights. So it's not as dangerous as was made out. Yeah, I don't know. I just have a feeling, and call me a conspiracy theorist. I'm not one generally, but I just got a feeling they wanted Holly to win, but they thought, okay, well, since she's not winning, we don't really need to see another 3 rounds of this. She's not going to get back into it. She's not. They're not close enough that she can turn it around. It doesn't like she's turning it around. This cut's a bit. Let's let's just get to the main event, because if we're in Puerto Rico, they all just want to see Amanda. That's who they came here for. That's
Yeah,
my opinion. As to why it was so easily called off when the cut wasn't that bad. But yeah, the card itself, for what it was decent. Bomba Gonzalez beat oh crap, what's his name? The ex Matchroom guy, the Eddie. Oh, I forgot his name now. But he was one of the guys that he bought off for the Olympians. Someone in the chat will tell me. I know.
I didn't see that fight.
Yeah, it was the end. It was like the main event of the prelims.
Oh well,
But it was Bomba Gonzalez against what is the guy's name? Philip, I know you're in the chat. Start typing.
come on, help us, come on,
Uh,
Bomba Gonzalez. I'm trying to even look on BoxRec. What's it? Well, that's probably not even his real name, is it?
nice. His first name is what is his first name,
Oh,
man?
Jonathan Gonzalez versus
That's it, Jonathan Bomba Gonzalez against.
Yeah, Yankiel Rivera
That's it,
Figueroa.
Yankee Rivera. That's the fight, because Yankee he was one of those highly touted guys from Matchroom when they were sort of trying to make the inroads into Puerto Rico, and then he had a couple of questionable fights, and I think he got released from his contract and he went over to MVP. So but yeah, but that was a decent fight on the prelims. There was a couple other decent ones. Elise Soto, definitely a lady to watch out for. Had her MVP debut. She was 9-0 with 8 KOs prior to that. But obviously she was fighting a lot of. I think there was a lot of people from Colombia and Venezuela. There wasn't, really. I was tempted to kind of put her in the prospect of the year thing, but I just didn't think the level of competition was up there, even though she was doing pretty good work. So she didn't kind of get in there. But at least Soto, if she carries on, she's at 120. I think she's at 130. So she's definitely someone to look out for. She's got power and she's got work rate, which a lot of women won't be able to deal with. But yeah, to the question that Ra posed.
Any hot takes for 2026? You've got a few wacky ones. Any hot takes for 2026?
So basically, things that, like, if people hear you say it, be like, "What you chatting about?"
Okay. Yeah, I know. I think that's more your field because you're based Stradamus, so you're good at this type of
Um,
role.
I'm kind of just taking this year as it comes, to be totally honest with you. Nothing, because to be honest, a lot of the things that I would say, I don't even think that they're hot takes. I feel like they're pretty um legit. Like the biggest take that I put out last year, in I think it was October. I said it. Um, where was it? Yeah, late October, early November, somewhere around there. Was that don't be surprised if you see Fabio Wardley and Derek Chisora as the first defense, and then people seem to be running with that one now. So that's pretty much it. The only other take I would have, and that's if the fight happens. And again, I don't think it's a hot take, but I don't even need a basis picks to tell you that Anthony Joshua knocks out Tyson Fury if they fight.
Mm,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty much it.
yeah. Um, yeah, I can't really, Well, hot take, I guess. I've got Junto Nakatani beating Naoya Inoue. I've
Okay,
said this for a few years now, but I'll just say it here on record, just so it's here a bit more recent.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's my only one.
Ra says his one is that Wilder KOs Usyk and bam, split decisions in your way. Okay,
All right.
interesting. Well, we will. I guess we'll leave that one there for the people. Thank you lot all for tuning in to this quicker episode. Um, and he says he also AJ KO's Fury. Then we get Wilder AJ finally. So after Usyk had his way with him in the ring, then then AJ picks out the scraps. Of course, that's if he does carry on, and we'll see what happens with that. Danny, anything you want to say before we shoot off?
Oh, just thank you for everyone for tuning and rocking with us at Fight Talk Live. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us for the first show of the year. Shout out to October Red. She will be with us next week, for sure. So yeah, just be sure to subscribe to her channels. Be sure to subscribe to Base the Kid at the Hardcore Casual and B_A_S_E on Twittex and yeah, Fight Fan TV, Fight Talk Live. Subscribe to it all, and yeah, see you next time.
All right. So yeah, peace out, people. I know Danny likes to normally do his little sign off, but we're doing it a bit different this week. I'm signing us off because he's a little bit rusty. He's gonna get back into ring shape for next week when there's more of us here. But no, enjoy the rest of the week. Don't forget Capricorns are the best. That's undisputed, and we will catch you on the next one. So yeah, be safe, be well, eat good. That's the main thing, especially this month. You can't really do much in January, but eat good. And don't blow any of your New Year's resolutions yet, because I know how some of you stay. Peace.